Welcome to Jason's Design Shop, where today we're in the kitchen of all places and we're making amazing fluffy sourdough bread. Stick around, it's no knead, so it's super easy. Hey guys, so I hear you want to make some sourdough bread? Well, this sourdough bread is amazing. So, let's get down here. I want to show you how I do it. Alright friends, welcome back to Jason's Design Shop, where today we're in the kitchen. Yeah, not the wood shop, not an unexpected place. This is not a food channel, but managed to make some pretty good bread and some people are wondering how I'm doing it. So, thought I'd share quickly on my channel. So let's get down here and take a look. Alright, first of all, you'll need some starter, right? So there's a lot of channels out there showing you how to make a starter. It's pretty simple. It takes a couple days to get the yeast going from the air. Gets in there and starts fermenting like all the good things in life, like cheese and beer and wine. I don't drink much of that. And and now bread. So if you want a good sourdough bread, you need a good starter, and I've managed to get a good one going. And the trick really that took me from struggling getting this starter going was to start using this, right? Dark rye flour. Once you get going with that, it seems to just take off. The other was, I was doing it in winter and it was pretty cool in the house, 70 degrees, is where our furnace is set. And it seems to like the warmer weather in summertime, and it really gets going fast. So be aware of that. Temperature matters on how fast this bacteria gets going. So first thing, we're gonna add to this and get ready to make bread with it. 50 grams of our flour, whole wheat flour here, 50 grams of some white flour in my tub, and 100 grams of water. And we'll mix that up and let that go overnight, and we'll be good to go. This is an old peach can. All right, then I just mix it up with a knife. All right, now we just let this sit in the jar overnight, and it might even be bubbling out the top if it's warm in here. Hopefully it will be not so warm now. It's cooling off in fall, and we'll get it before it makes a mess. But if we start out with less, that won't happen, but that's the way I do it. That's how we roll here. If you need to make some starter, don't worry, in the description, look down there and I'll give you the recipe of how to make a starter as well, using that dark rye bread flour. This right here. All right, General Mills, Red Mills. All right, you can put a lid on there, but I would just lightly leave it on top. Do not tie it down. It might explode the whole jar, right? Creating gas pressure. Don't want that to happen, make a big mess. All right, see you in the morning. All right, that's been out all night long. Look at that, nice and full and bubbly. But I have to go to work, so we're gonna put it in the fridge for the day. All right, hey, it's been all day. Let's pull that out, make some bread. Okay, the starter is nice and bubbly and ready to go. So loving that. Just gonna put water, starter, mix that up, flour, salt, done for an hour. Okay, first thing, 257 grams of water. So let's get this in here. 100, 200, 30, 40, goes fast, gotta be careful. Be as exact as you can. One little dribble more, because we are trying to make a bread that's very hydrated. A lot of water in it. Then they want 98 grams of starter. So what I do is I reset and go back to 0. We can do 98 grams, but I always put a little extra because I have so much in here. I'm pulling this out of this. Look how bubbly that is, big bubbles. Yeah, you know it's good. It's that bubbly. The really trick is to have a good starter. 30, 50, 60, 51. Let's get some more. It's more than half already. Ooh, 98. So that's what it calls for, 98, 99. Nothing wrong with a little extra there for good measure. And that takes me down in the jar. So I'm right down here, ready to put it in the back in the fridge and let it just sit till next week. I find that you can leave the jar pretty much empty and not have this much extra. You can make another loaf or something and it will still come back. But the more you have in there, the faster it comes back. And I need it to come back quickly so I can make bread. If you just have a dirty jar and you put the starter in there and get it going, it could take longer to get it going again. So that's why I keep, this much in the jar right there. All right. Finally, what you want to do is mix this up, loosen this up here. We can take this off of there. So we're going to dissolve this down a little bit. It wants to stay chunky, and it doesn't have to be totally dissolved. Chunks are fine. Just breaking it down. This is one of the tricks that I learned.
Yeah, it's breaking up good. See, I can't pick up any huge chunks anymore. The bubbles it's making. Alright.
Final ingredient here with the salt and the flour. So salt, we want 8 grams of salt. So I'm going to measure that again onto here so we can get the right amount. 8 grams of salt, but I have been doing that and I find it's too salty. So I'm going to start backing this off to, see, there's a low 8. I'm going to come down to 7 or something. What do we got there? 5, 6. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I want to dial it in. There's 6. We're going to go with 6. But you can start at 8. You'll definitely taste the salt at 8. And you certainly don't want any less than 4. You might not taste any salt. And that's what gives it its flavor. Right? Okay. I will give that a little stir. Dissolve that salt. Now the salt is said to slow down the fermenting process and kill the bacteria, but I found it's not a problem to go ahead and put it in now. You'll find some recipes that call you to put it in later, right at the end, once it's grown up. Alright, now open up a jar. Flour. 388 grams of flour, exactly. So here we go. Okay, let's get another jar, reset to 0, and fill this with 388. Okay, 88. Let's get this out. Put it in here. Woohoo. There we go. And essentially we're done. We're going to mix this up. So it's a rough mixture. We're going to let it sit for an hour. We're going to stretch it, fold it up, and put it back in here, ready to cook. Here we go. And the final step in the ingredients is to incorporate all this together nicely. I use a wire whisk, although I have to clean this out in a minute. You can use your hands, you can use a folding with a knife, but just get it all together. One of the problems I discovered was over mixing. Sourdough bread does not require hardly any mixing or any kneading. You do not need to knead this bread for a long period of time. We're going to do just a little bit later on after 1 hour of this setting, once it's all incorporated here.
Right, just going to bring it all together. That's one of the tricks.
What we want is a dough that almost sticks to your hand. It sticks a little bit, very wet, but it's right as sticky as it can be without getting really sticky to your hands. All right. Alright, we're gonna let that sit for 1 hour. Alright, here it is. It's been an hour. May have rose a little bit. Let's push this back. Okay, now open it up. I'm gonna do something kind of strange. Get wet again. Alright, let's get this out of here. See, it doesn't want to come out. See how lumpy it is and clumpy? We're gonna stretch it and it's gonna make it tight and smooth. I'm gonna fold it back together and put it right back into this container. Okay, we're gonna wash that bowl so it's nice and clean. And here, we're gonna stretch this out. And now, I fold it back up into thirds. 1/3 there, 1/3 here, 1/3 onto here, 1/3 onto there. Then I'm going to work this into a round ball. It's not sticking too bad. It's pretty sticky though. It's as wet as it could possibly be. I'm trying to push it underneath here. I need some water so it won't stick. Okay, I need to get the bowl clean, and we're gonna put this paper in the bowl and this inside the bowl. Okay, I've washed this bowl with very hot water. It's nice and warm. It's actually 77 degrees in here right now. If you're wondering what my temperature is. Now I've got to get my hands wet so I can get this up without it sticking to me. There we go. Now I'm going to give it one final go around, pushing it under itself, getting some bubbles there. I think that's good. Set it down in there. It's nice and moist because I got my hands wet. Now we're going to let it rise. We're going to let it rise inside this bowl. I'm going to have the plastic put back onto it, because we don't want that creating a dry skin and making it hard for it to rise. All right, and we are in Utah and it's very dry here. There we go. Not too tight. It's probably going to come up. It's going to hit this plastic. So what we're going to do is we've got to let the air out. So we're going to puncture some little holes. There we go. Let the air out. Now we let it rise overnight. In the morning it should be very big, and we're going to put it right into the oven. That's the second big trick. We're not going to try to take it out of this bowl and put it on the flat baking sheet, because then it's so wet and so soft and full of air and so big that it'll just go flat on the oven pan and you won't get a big fluffy bread. So this is really the #1 trick. That and the stretching and the recipe. All right. Let's wait. See you in the morning. And there it is. After 4 hours, actually at 11:30 last night, it was ready, full like this, right up to the top, pressing the plastic. Well, I didn't have time at 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to bed, so I just threw it in the fridge, which actually lets it proof overnight and makes it even better. But that stops the fermentation and just slows it way down. And that's another trick you can use, is anytime it's not on your schedule, you just put it in the refrigerator. Alright, so I pulled it out this morning. It's still right where we left it, ready to go. So we're going to pull this off and put it in an oven at 450 degrees, just like it is, ready to go. Now, I know if you've been trying to cook bread before, I know you would like us to score the bread and try to get that sail that stands up as the bread raises. That is the holy grail of sourdough bread, just like in these other ones I've done in the past. But on this one, it's just too fluffy and just very, very unstable. Super high, it could just totally collapse the whole thing. So we are going to leave it just as it is. It will rise up a little more in the oven, and we'll get this super crispy ball with a very fluffy inside. And that is the goal of this sourdough. So we're going to throw this in the oven at 450 degrees, nice and hot, and capture this shape, hopefully. There's the oven, ready to go in. Here we go. Alright, it's been about 25 minutes. Grab a pan like this. Get your mittens. Take it out. Close the door. Now, transfer it from here to here. Oh my god. It's hot. You want to pull this off of there. This one's not hot, so you can just hold it and put it right back in the oven. There we go. Now we're going to brown up the rest of it and make it yummy. Alright, so it's finished cooking for 10 more minutes and browning up the rest of the edges. Now that pan is hot, so get out of there. Turn the oven off. And there's our beautiful bun. Woohoo! Look at that. Nothing wrong with that, huh? Round up everywhere. All in this dish, which just lets you take it right out. The dish is clean and ready to put away. Is the second time I've used this paper, so I'll probably even use it again. You do want to leave enough paper sticking up so you can get a hold of it to pull it out. I was struggling there. This side is burned off. I may need a new one next time, but you can use it more than once. I've got 1% power on my battery, so for the sake of the video, listen to that. Crunchy. Let's cut into it and see what we got inside. Yummy, yummy, fluffy. Ooh, super. It's a little warm, a little wet, so it's kind of smeared that, but you can see how fluffy that is. Big bubbles and air pockets. Wow. Can't wait to butter that up right now. Eat it up. Don't worry, I put all the numbers in the description below, even for the starter mix that I used to make this bread. So a little butter on there. Shout out to Tanya for this amazing cherry jam that she, oh my goodness, made from the cherries on my tree. And you know, you just put that on the bread and you have got yourself a wonderful breakfast. Oh, got some tea over here. Okay, there we go. Shout out to anybody who loves a good bread. Woohoo! Cheers. Wow. That's it for Jason's Design Shop. Enjoy. I will. That's the best.